Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Travel Collective. We're here to learn about making travel fun, easy, and educational. Today, in this episode, we're going to learn about what belongs on your carry-on. So, we have a group of individuals that we're going to have a fantastic discussion with.
Wonderful.
So, does everybody want to introduce themselves?
All right, I'll start. So my name is Cindy Cohen and I'm in Los Angeles and I'm part of the Travel Collective and have been here for quite a long time. And we're talking about carry-on, right, Michael? So I don't usually check my bag. I'm a big carry-on fan, so I don't have very many check bag stories, but we'll talk about what I put in my carry-on.
That's fantastic. April, how about you?
My name is April, and I'm also with the Travel Collective. I'm in Las Vegas right now, and I do both. Sometimes because of the amount of camera gear and electronics I'm carrying, I literally have so much stuff that needs to go on board that there would be no clothes. So I have to check a bag of clothes and have my carry-on. So, but this year we'll see what happens. So.
Well, I'm excited to hear a little bit more about each one of these things. Linda, how about you?
I'm Linda, and I'm from Syracuse, New York, and I take writers traveling. So I do bring books and teaching materials. I always check a bag because if somebody else will handle it for me, I'm all about that. But again, I also do strategically pack the right things should that bag get lost, because yes, that bag's gotten lost.
As we've all been there, I think several times actually. Nikki, I'm anxious to hear what you got to say.
So I'm Nikki Page. I am a best-selling travel author, and I used to always never check a bag, but now I've started to check bags because it seems like things are not showing up where they're supposed to. So it kind of depends on the airline I'm flying also, but I try to get it all in that little carry-on in my personal bag if possible.
That's always a positive thing. Dan, what have
Hi
you
there. I'm Dan DeFrancione, the owner and innkeeper of the Willamette Valley Bed and Breakfast in Newburgh, Oregon. And whenever I'm traveling, I do my best to check the bag as well. I would prefer just to carry on some essentials, a laptop, some snacks, and let somebody else carry the big stuff for me.
Yeah, my name is Michael Hurst, and I'm not a travel individual other than enjoying travel. I've traveled for business, both business and pleasure, and I find that it's a lot easier to kind of double. I'll check some things, but I'll also bring a bag with me. So that way, just in case something gets lost, I have clothes, I have shirts and pants and some shaving gear and things like that.
Yep.
Okay, we know we're supposed to keep our toiletries and change of clothes and valuables, like I had just mentioned like a minute ago. What else do you always keep in your carry-ons? You want to start, Nikki?
Oh, I'd love to start. Actually, one of the things I keep are my headphones. So noise canceling headphones is like an absolute must, either over the ear ones or the in-ear ones now actually have some really good ones out there now too. So that is a must in my carry-on.
That's yeah, I think we all need to be able to take that time, make sure those are with us so that we can hear, enjoy, kind of escape for a few minutes.
If you're not listening to something or trying to block out the noise and you're not like a person who listens to things like this, I always recommend earplugs, because crying babies or the person next to you sometimes, you need to block out the noise, especially on those longer flights.
Yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree. Linda.
Well, I always say, if you're going to travel, do yourself a solid, and I do myself many solids, because I really hate the Ziploc bag and making sure everything fits. So if it's solid and it's sold and I can travel with it, I do solid shampoo, solid conditioner, solid deodorant, solid perfume, solid bug balm, because then I can just throw things in and out of my bag, because sometimes I'm traveling by car, by land, sometimes I'm flying, and I don't want to have to keep renegotiating that. So that's what I make sure is always in my carry-on.
That's outstanding. You just brought up something I never thought of, a bug balm.
Yeah.
Me too. That's so cool. I never thought bug balm in a carry-on, because usually you have to buy it when you get there because you can't carry just carry-on because it's liquid. So that's cool.
Well, I'll say this. I won't say product names, but if you Google it, there is a very, very familiar tin, at least here on the East Coast, and I buy a lot of their products
Nice.
for
Yeah.
bug bomb.
I'm
solid
I'm
bug
with
bomb.
you, Linda, as far as the solid. If it comes in a solid, I will get perfume as well. Anything if I get deodorant and in a cream instead of in a stick because it's smaller. I use the shampoo. Yep. So that I don't have to have so many things in that little Ziploc
Yeah.
bag. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hate the Ziploc bags. Dan, what's your journey?
The other things that I carry are always electronics. I'm just not comfortable checking them. You never know where it goes, and I typically need it. You can always use it on the plane as well, which is convenient these days. And then I always have a snack. I always have something to munch on. Never a lot, but something just in case. You just never know if you're going to be delayed or have to sit or whatever else. So just having an energy bar and something and preferably something chocolate is always comes in handy.
That always that actually makes a lot of the chocolate. We got to have chocolate. It has to be in the front part of the bag so it's easily accessible.
That's right.
Yeah, April.
Besides electronics, which we kind of mentioned, I always, and Dan already took it, like food. I have to have food because I don't want to end up in a situation where I'm hangry and things are because you can get delayed and the food at the airport is expensive. So I'm always packing a lot of snacks and make sure there's extra room in there. And I also have a refillable bottle so I can, fill up my water in the airport. I may also sometimes treat myself to some sort of other drink, but to have extra liquids. You hear all these horror stories about sitting on the tarmac or just even your plane gets delayed. Now you're waiting. And if it's late, you may not, the stores close up. So
Yeah.
Always good positive things. I started talking about food. I am like allergic to all top 8 of the things that you could be allergic to. So I always make sure that I carry snacks because you can't always get them on the airplane.
Right.
And a lot of times you can't get them in the airport. So if you're trying to get something before you get on the plane, it's not available. So I always make sure I have that kind of food in my bags as well before I come on.
Yeah.
And a little tip on that one, when you're carrying snacks, because I always carry snacks too, but remember, if you're traveling international, there are rules. So like apples and things like that can cost you like $500-$600 if you get caught trying to carry those through customs.
Wow.
So you want to make sure that you're not carrying your fruits and vegetables and meats and stuff through customs. I learned that the hard way going through London once. So we lucked out. They were really awesome, and they were catching the people who had all the apples in the sacked lunch before us. And so I was able to go in and kind of ditch mine in the bathroom, but a couple people ended up paying about $600 to get through at London because they had apples in their bags from a lunch that we all had together before we got on the flight, and we had all just kind of put the apples, like, oh, we'll eat those later. Oh yeah, it didn't turn out real. It was an expensive apple. So
Very expensive. You could buy a whole tree for that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Well, I know that we've all come up with something along this line. I know that I have a couple of different times. Have you ever lost a bag? How about April? Can you start off with this? Share your story.
Yes, I did actually have, and I don't remember, I think it was actually an outfit that I had worn to a wedding. And so it was actually in a folding hanging bag. And I don't know if I think they kind of, if I either checked it or I think I actually gate checked it. And luckily I was on my way home, so it wasn't as important. I've also had bags delayed. Again, I was thankfully going to a relative's home, so I always stash and leave clothes at a relative's house so that if that happens, it's not a big ordeal or I don't have to go buy anything. But yeah, eventually me and the item, I had pictures, I could describe it clearly. I mean, it took a few days to call the airline and show them pictures and email, but eventually I got the outfit, the suit, because I like to wear it a lot, back. And same with the delayed bag. I think they came in the middle of the night from, it took them like an hour and a half because in Iowa, not all the airports are close to where you live. So.
Right.
Hey, excuse me, Cindy, you got your story?
I have only lost a bag once, and that was a long, long time ago, probably around the similar Iowa tennis timeline that you were talking about, April, because I don't check bags anymore. I had I'll share this story. I had an incident where I used to travel to Seattle for work all the time, and my flight back was being delayed or canceled, and they asked me, oh, you can, you know, do you want to book a different flight? And I really needed to get home, and I was like, I'll just put me on anything. If it gets into the Los Angeles area, I'll take it. She was in the middle of booking it, and while she was booking it, she realized that I had booked myself on this other flight, and she says, oh, you can't go because you have to go with your bag. So I couldn't get on a different flight to go into the Burbank airport or a different airport within the Los Angeles area. I have to fly with my bag, which meant that I had to wait the 4 or 5 hours instead of getting on literally the next flight. And so that was the downfall of checking my bag, because I was now restricted to go wherever my bag was going. And so then I just said, nope, not doing it anymore. I still have checked my bag on occasion when it's too big, when I have too much. But if I can squeeze it in something that I can carry, I would say 90% of my trips, even when I traveled for 10 months around in 2016, it was in a carry-on. So I've learned to do solids like Linda does, smaller things, make it all small. So I've only had a couple of times, and it was delivered to my door. So I do think it's real important that if you are checking your bag, that you know, make sure you have your address on it, a place that they can ship it to, and not your home address, but the address where you're going, and then the address where you're going on both sides, because that's where they want to take it, right? So that's really important. And take pictures of your bag. I highly encourage that, both for lost bag, but also pictures of your bag packed, so in case it gets lost or stolen, you can tell them what was in it. All those things are really helpful. I've never had to do that, but I've definitely had it lost, delayed.
If I can add something to that,
Sure.
I think that's a brilliant idea, everything that you just said. But now that we've got those with an iPhone, you can do the air trackers.
Yep.
If you take and put one of those air trackers in your bag, then you always know where your bag's at. So even if they don't, you do.
Yep.
It works out well. Dan, you have to have a story.
So I'll try and give you just the highlights here. My very first trip to Europe, which was several years ago, and it was for work primarily. But so I'm taking brochures, I'm taking flyers, and I'm taking a suit and tie and dress shoes, the whole works. So I fly from Seattle to Berlin. And I get off in Berlin and my bag is not there. So the challenge was not so much, there was, you know, the inconvenience, yes, of not having your bag. The other inconvenience is not speaking German and trying to tell someone you've lost your bag. And I'm in a foreign country for the first time where I don't speak the language. And so here I am. Fortunately, the people that we were standing next to also, their bag didn't show up. So I was able to follow them to wherever we had to go to report this. So I'm just tagging along. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is the way it's going to work. So I went without my stuff. It took them 4 days to find my bag and get it to me, which was fortunate in the fact that it got there before I was leaving, because I was leaving the following day to go to another country. So I got it just in time, not in time for work or any of those things. But I waited till the last minute, went and bought some new clothes off the rack, showed up, did my job at the trade show, and everything worked out. But it's highly inconvenient to not have any of your things. So my carry-on, all I had were snacks and my electronics. So I wasn't going very far without anything else. But anyways, I survived.
It reminds me of the movie with Ben Stiller, Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
He loses his luggage, and then the day he's leaving, they show up in the driveway with it.
Yeah.
Just in time to carry it back with you.
I know. Yeah.
Exactly.
I was more worried that if it didn't show up before I left and I go to another country, it's like, how is it going to meet up with me then? I just thought it would be more challenging and different if you're going home and like, okay, it'll get here. But I was like, but fingers crossed, and it worked out.
I think we should maybe a suggestion is wherever you're going overseas, write out something in each language of each country you're moving to, and then make sure that that's attached by laminated to your suitcase. So if anything gets lost, they can just read it in their own language.
It's a good
idea.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Linda, let's hear your horror story.
I do have a good one. It was such a good horror story. It actually made it into the New York Times. Just prior to my honeymoon, the Caribbean is prone to hurricanes. A hurricane hit. So at the time we used travel agents, remember back then? And the travel agent said there were 5,000 people in the system trying to rebook. So she could get us into another island in the Caribbean, but she said, I can't get you anything out of Miami airport. But if you take a taxi to an island, I can get you a seaplane. So that's what we did. We taxied to an island, got a seaplane, but these things are so tiny. And I see our luggage going ahead of us. And I think to myself, well, they're so tiny, they're probably going to use another plane for the luggage. Well, it obviously was going somewhere other than where we were going. And I mentioned it to my husband. He said, well, they're tiny, so they must be taking it somewhere else. I said, that's what I thought, that they're going to another plane. And so, yeah, we lost it. We lost it for most of that week. And again, it was a 2-part honeymoon. So we were hoping we'd get it on that island before we went to the next one. But I learned, don't take a seaplane.
We could create a T-shirt that says, don't take a seaplane.
I like that.
This works. Nikki, you have to have one similar.
Actually, I have never had my bags lost.
Oh,
I have,
wow.
and I have
Wow.
traveled a lot. I've been all over the world. My husband lost his once, and they were really quick to have it to us the next morning. But I have never personally lost a bag, so I've been very thankful for that. I do make sure I pack an overnight pair of change of clothes and a change something to sleep in and things like that in my carry-on, just because if I ever do lose that, and I am checking the majority of my stuff, I always have something to wear because traveling and not having clothes is kind of rough. So, but I've been lucky.
And expensive.
Especially, and expensive, especially if you're in the touristy areas and you need to really shop and you don't want to look like the rest of the tourists buying all the shirts and stuff. So, I mean, it's okay to wear what I was going to bring my mom back for my souvenir. But, I mean, that's not usually how I want to show up on the beach or spend my time looking. So,
Yeah.
See, I'm going to use that excuse when my wife and I go to Italy. I'm going to say that they lost my baggage and I have to buy Armani.
yeah, there you go.
Direct, right?
Right. Yeah, that's perfect. Well, fortunately, most people don't lose it for more than a couple of days. So that tip of packing, the overnight clothes, Nikki, is a good one. But if you lose it for the whole trip, like Linda did, it doesn't matter, right?
Yes.
If you had overnight clothes, that wouldn't have made any difference. You were still.
You're still going to go
Prepared.
shopping. Yeah.
Always be prepared. Always be prepared. Well, let's talk about where each one of us are going next, and if you're planning a trip anytime soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, who wants to start? How about we start at the top again, Cindy?
All right. Well, I am in the middle of planning my trip to Iceland. I don't know if that'll be my next trip. My Iceland trip will be in August of 2023, and I'm taking people, so you're welcome to check that out. But I very likely will go to Japan because my son has just moved to Japan at the beginning of this year, and they just opened it up for tourists. So I will likely go there before August of next year. Just don't have that planned yet. So maybe the end of the year, first of the year, I'll be spending a few weeks in Japan.
Sounds like a brilliant idea. April? Where are you going?
Well, my next trip is Alaska, which is a couple weeks away. So kind of excited about that. So, and I have to start packing early because the same thing I need to have in my carry-on besides my electronics, the change of clothes, the food, and all of that. So it's kind of a process, and I have to start early and whittle it down because again, after breaking my wrist this year, I want to get lighter and carry less. And if I need to buy something, heck, there's stores there, I'll buy it. So.
Yep.
How about Linda? Linda, let's work our way kind of clockwise, counterclockwise.
I am like Cindy. I go where my kids go. And it's funny because I am actually half Japanese. I'd love for one of my kids to go to Japan. Give me a reason to go. But no, one of my daughters lives in Boulder, Colorado. So I will probably fly into Denver sometime.
Lovely.
Yeah, sometime. And again, it's nice because it's Boulder, it's Denver. The Rockies. Who can say no to the Rockies?
I'm a Colorado boy, so I would. In fact, we should go there. I'll tell my wife we're all going to go to Colorado to see.
Okay.
We're going to do it.
Okay.
We're going to do it. Nikki.
See, and I'm sitting here in Colorado right now. So,
You see the
I
trees
mean,
behind you.
like it's absolutely gorgeous here. So yes, Colorado is beautiful. You enjoy that Boulder area. And I just love Colorado. My next trip though, I'm looking the first part of the year. I'm heading back to Costa Rica, I believe. However, between now and then, I do a lot of ticket snatching when they come on sale. So you never know who might be putting on sales tomorrow. You know, it's one of those cool things when you have a passport or you have the flexibility of being able to work
Right.
when you're traveling, is being able to, when those tickets come on sale, oh yeah, I can pack and head to the airport tomorrow. So I don't really know where I might be. I know April was talking about Canada and some other cool places coming up. So yeah, we'll see where we are here in the next month or so.
Okay.
Sounds like a brilliant idea as well.
Yeah.
Dan, we didn't forget about you. Where are you going?
Well, I have a couple of short family involved trips coming up. So I'm going to Moab, Utah for a wedding, and then I'm going to Colorado because everybody else.
Everybody else going to Colorado.
But I'm going to Colorado. I'm a Colorado native myself, and so I'll be heading there for part of a small family reunion as well. But the next vacation, real vacation, is going to be in February, March. And I'll be making my way to Tortola in the British Virgin Islands, and
Wow.
see what else we add on pre or post. You know, the Florida Keys or St. Thomas or something else in the general area.
There's some amazing trips. I'm just going to go. I'm going to see my kids. We're going to take a trip to California. We're going to go to do a whale watching trip for the first time and do a sunset cruise type thing. And we're going to have a really outstanding time with our kids. She's
Wonderful.
celebrating, our youngest is celebrating her 30th birthday. So it's a reason to go.
It is
Good
a reason to go.
Reason to go. Absolutely. Is there anything in particular that we just talked about that you feel, you know, I run a podcast called One More Thing Before You Go. So I'm going to borrow that into this, if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
Before we leave, is there one more thing that any of you would like to kind of talk about, what you learned, what you would like to share with others before we leave?
I learned from Nikki not to take that apple. I'm just going to go with almonds. And I think, Michael, was it you who said make sure that you have your luggage laminated with tags in the languages of the countries you're going through? Or did you say it, Dan? Who said it?
I said it.
No, that was
Okay.
Michael.
All right, that was Michael.
I'll raise my
Michael,
hand.
that is the $1 million piece of advice. So thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That really is. Yeah.
I like the idea of having the solids that Linda mentioned about. Didn't even know that all those existed. So I'll have that. And then my carry-on, since I'm heading to the islands, will just be an extra change of flip-flops and t-shirts and shorts, because that's a nice and light and easy to pack. So,
That works. That absolutely works. I know, April, would you learn out of this? Because you do this like professionally too.
Well, yeah, I do it often, but I think just reminders of like, and I've heard this other places, like inside your luggage, tape, you know, take a piece of paper and tape your name, tape your, like you said, the next addresses, kind of where you're going, because, you know, that way it's still inside. Sometimes the outside tags can get pulled off. I mean, I had clients come to New England, and like her bag, literally, we wondered how it even made it onto, it was falling apart. We literally had to replace it during the trip. But I mean, she was thankful it didn't pop open and all of her stuff was all over the belt. So, you know, I use a lot of, like, if I notice the zippers are getting weak, being from the Midwest, we're pretty crafty. I've had my dad help me take wire, because I also would rather have a beat up looking bag so that someone else doesn't pull it off the, you know, if you're checking it. I use like bright colored tape or straps. As everybody has a classy looking black bag. Mine is the most obnoxious looking thing out there. So that's my tip. But you guys all gave great tips. The solids is a fabulous idea, Linda. That's great.
You know,
Yeah,
I learned because I was the queen of the, I can't take this bottle, I have to dump it. You lose it, because, you know, sometimes you have to go quickly and you just throw it in the bag and it's like, oh, that's my land travel bag. And then I learned.
Yeah, it gets frustrating when they take stuff from you through the TSA.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. Well, listen, I really appreciate everything you all have shared with me, because as a traveler, not a professional traveler, but a traveler, you have each one of you have given me some insight into some things that I would utilize as we're going through. And I think that the Travel Collective is a wonderful opportunity for you to learn, to educate, to network, and to get involved in more travel. So I look forward to the next one.
Thank you.